When I'm in Taiwan, ghost culture is a very big part of the culture. Like people actually talk about ghosts and people believe in ghosts. It has penetrated our daily life.
Welcome to Taiwan Talk. I'm Tim Berge, and that was Kevin Chen, Chen Sihong, setting up the backdrop for his novel, Ghost Town. Chen is an award-winning Taiwan author, and Ghost Town, 鬼地方, is his first novel to be published in English translation. As the New York Times Book Review describes the novel, it's the literary equivalent of a suitcase jammed full to the point of bursting. Characters, memories, regrets, choices, consequences, and sex, all pressed together like soiled clothes after a long journey. Open the case just a little, and the dirty laundry starts spilling out. Since its publication in 2019, Ghost Town has won 2 major awards in Taiwan, including the 2020 Golden Tripod and the 2020 Taiwan Literature Award Grand Prize. Chen has been writing since a young age, but started out his career as an aspiring actor, studying drama at the National Taiwan University, and then later traveling to Berlin.
Well, I don't think that I really did some sort of transition. I simply gave up acting, okay, because I just couldn't continue anymore. I studied theater and drama, in NTU, and I aspired to be an actor, which didn't work because I was working in theater. And at one point, I realized that it just didn't work because I didn't get paid at all. I couldn't make a living. It's a really difficult career choice, and I gave up. And somehow, after moving to Germany, I don't know how, but I started auditioning, and I was lucky enough to get some parts. So I did some films, some TV sitcoms, and it was interesting enough. But at one point, I just had to give up. I was really, really bad at auditioning, and I was doing auditioning for a film. There was a callback, and I went back, and they asked me to do a backflip, and I was like, "Excuse me?" They said, "Yeah, can you do a backflip for us?" And I said, "No, I do know how to do a Shakespearean monologue, but I don't know how to do a backflip." And they were surprised. And there was this woman who simply said, "But you're Asian. How can you not do backflip?" And I was simply shocked at the moment. And it's because I'm Asian, so I'm Michelle Yeoh, I'm Jackie Chan, or I'm Bruce Lee, or whatever. And I just couldn't continue anymore because the representation, the Asian representation in the German show business is simply very bad. There's still a long way to go. And I just couldn't see an interesting path for me to go down. So I gave up. So I never gave up writing. Writing is something I never gave up. I'm always writing as long as I can remember. So I don't think I did a transition, but I did give up acting and just focus on my writing. And I think acting really helps because it's drama. It's theater. It's about tensions and actions.
For Chen, he says the novel is loosely based on his own story growing up in a large family in rural Taiwan, where he ended up being, as he says, the 8th unwanted daughter in the family.
Okay, I actually started writing this novel, 鬼地方, when I was 33 or 32. So I published the book when I was 43. It was like 10 years in the making. But when I was 33, I started the book, and I simply couldn't continue. I had no idea why, because the book is based on my hometown, my family, my story, because I'm actually from a big crazy family. I have 7 sisters, and I have 1 brother. I'm the youngest. I'm the ninth. And why do I have so many sisters? I mean, if you are in an Asian environment or in Taiwan, you would know that my parents tried 7 times to get a son. In order to get a son, they tried 7 times without success, and eventually they got my brother, and they got me. Why? Because why would they try again? After 8 children, and they got a son already. I was born in the year of 1976, which was the year of dragon. So they wanted a dragon boy. So they gambled again, and it worked. So they have me. But the thing is, maybe the gamble didn't really work because it turned out I'm gay. So I'm like the 8th unwanted daughter in my family. So I have this amazing source of story to tell. So I started when I was 33, but I just couldn't continue. It just didn't work. But somehow when I was 43, maybe I have, I don't know, matured. I have aged. I'm old. As a middle-aged man, somehow I'm sad and bitter enough. And I went back to the story, and this time it just flowed. I just couldn't stop, and I finished the story. And so how autobiographical is this book? Because it's, after all, a novel.
In Ghost Town, the protagonist, Keith Chen, returns to Taiwan after serving time in jail for murder. But as the author reassures us, he personally does not have blood on his hands.
No, I didn't. and I have a story to tell. I have a very good friend of mine. After reading the book, so she hasn't seen me for a while because of pandemic, and we did see each other in Taiwan. And she read the book, and when we met, she actually gave me a big hug, a bear hug, and she, started crying. I was like, "Excuse me, what's going on now? We are not emotional people, we don't show emotions. Come on." But she did, and then it turned out that because she read the book and she believed that I actually killed someone in Germany and just came back from Taiwan after I served my time in jail. And she was a good friend. And I was like, excuse me. So even a good friend of mine got confused. So, it's actually, I felt really flattered. So I didn't kill anyone.
Chen adds that having someone actually think he was a killer was actually a compliment, proving that his writing is convincing. Ghost Town takes place in central Taiwan, in a town with a name very similar to Chen's birthplace in Changhua County. For the author, his hometown was both magical and suffocating at the same time.
Yeah, well, the thing is, this town, Yongjing, the direct translation of this town will be, forever peaceful. And it is peaceful because it's a typical small town environment in Taiwan. And even a lot of people in Taiwan, they have never heard of this town. But it's a small town, but it's for me, it's a magical experience to grow up in this place because, when I was growing up, I remember snakes. We had snakes, bats in the air, and I was playing in the fields, and just, I was always in the mud, and it was just a wonderful experience. But it's also, how do I say that, suffocating. Because, I always knew, even when I was a kid, before I went to school, I always knew that this place was not, enough. I shouldn't say enough. No, that place is, of course, enough. But it was not there for me because there was no library, there was no theater, there was no cinema, there was no culture. Well, I have to air quote it now, even though we're doing radio. But everything is culture, of course. But, there was no proper representations of cinemas or theaters or even the proper bookstores where I could, buy books. And I just had to get out. So, of course, this book is very much based on my hometown, my actual experiences of growing up in this hometown. Yeah, so I think that it's a fiction. It's a novel. But I would say that a huge chunk of the book is based on what I have seen, what I've smelled, and what I have experienced.
As the novel's title suggests, Ghost Town, the supernatural, plays an important role in the story. With the protagonist returning home just before the 7th lunar month, the so-called ghost month, 鬼月, and with many of the characters in the story, who are no longer living, speaking through ghosts. As the author says, ghost culture is inescapable in Taiwan.
Because I'm simply fascinated by the ghost culture in Taiwan. Because when I'm in Taiwan, ghost culture is a very big part of the culture. But like people actually talk about ghosts and people believe in ghosts. And it's not just this whole month of ghosts. It has penetrated our daily life. For example, when you check in a hotel, after you get a room key or card, whatever, before entering your room, as a Taiwanese, you will actually knock on the door before you go into the room. Why is that? Because people believe that there are ghosts in the room. And by knocking on the door, these lovely ghosts will actually realize, oh my God, someone is checking in, so I have to go through the wall and give peace to the new people.
That was Kevin Chen, Chen Sihong, a Taiwanese novelist based in Berlin, and author of the novel Ghost Town, 鬼地方, an award-winning book, also available in English translation. For Taiwan Talk, I'm Tim Berge.